Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rowling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, or you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? How are you doing? I just got back from an amazing conference in Phoenix, and it just reminded me about the importance of the work that we do. The work that we get to do together on the show and by way of this podcast. And I thank you. I thank you for listening. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for your messages. I thank you for your stars. I thank you for your reviews. I thank you for all of it. And if you haven't ever, or maybe haven't in a while, just drop me a review or a like or a star or 5. I would be so grateful. Apparently there's some algorithm that brings you up into the top by way of just other people liking it and sharing it. And I just know with all of my heart the importance of this work. I had an opportunity at the conference. It was a 3-hour breakout. And I got to introduce people to this work, and I got to invite everyone to consider, right, that, again, to consider that the way that we live and how we show up in our life is up to us, and we get to integrate it. And, like, to listen and to learn is one thing, but to actually apply it and integrate it in our work, I just think that's just awesome. And I just want to make sure that, these tools are alive and well in our mind and in your life. So the topic of today is taking offense. And I'm excited to talk about this topic because we're going to dive into it. We're going to dive into the conversations around taking offense. And I truly believe that at the heart of this conversation is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to become stronger, to have more genuine, authentic relationships, and to find that peace and the fulfillment in our life. So, like I normally do when I kind of tease out a podcast topic, I like to go to Google and ask Google how they define offense. And they defined offense as, let's see here, to become angry or upset by something that another person has either said or done. Okay. And so I want you to consider how taking this idea of taking offense, how it is a byproduct of most of our problems, right? A symptom caused from a lack of understanding about the tools that we teach about our own psychology. And as we kind of navigate, the emotional waters, we discover that our reactions stem from our expectations being thoughts of the mind. Both, right, that we place on ourselves, expectations, and those we believe that others set for us. But here's the twist. Are these expectations, right, that we're either placing on ourselves or others, or that we are shouldering from others, are they true, or are they just constructs of our insecurities? And I talk a lot about confidence on the show. And so, if you want more work on confidence, there's lots of other shows. This isn't a confidence show. But I just want you to consider that our expectations, right, that we have on ourselves and that we have about how other people should show up in the world and whether or not we shoulder the expectations of others is based on our insecurities. And I'm suggesting that, right? When other people say something that can be perceived as offensive, that has to do with their insecurities, right? People judge in others so often what they don't accept in themselves. And when you take offense, I take offense to something that someone says, that has to do with your insecurities. That has to do with my insecurities. We judge what others say about us when we don't accept ourselves. So do you see kind of how they're all insecurity problems? And I'm not suggesting that I'm immune to them. I'm not even sure that that's the goal. But I've learned a lot about confidence, true confidence, and allowing people to be wrong about me, and even agreeing with people's assessment of me, even when it doesn't feel great. And so I want to show and share how to do that, how to practice navigating both our own insecurities and others without creating additional suffering for ourselves. So those of you that know my story know that I was in publishing for almost 2 decades of my life. And after publishing, and before I went all into coaching, I've been literally coaching as a jobbie for 3 decades now. But I was in publishing for a good stint of that, and then I went all in coaching. But before I did that, I was in real estate, commercial real estate. And our company secured a large acreage of commercial property, and we were looking to build a pretty expansive entertainment district. And the work was super exciting. And in addition to securing tenants, right, for the district, I was also tasked with interviewing and hiring a construction company for the build. And in one of those meetings, I found myself sitting across from 3 suits. That's what I call them. And I was presenting them the vision. I was exploring their capacity, their bandwidth, and level of interest. And this truly was a huge opportunity, right, for any builder to get the job. It was a multi-million, if not billion-dollar project. And after I'd walked them through, right, these massive architectural designs at our lunch table, one of the suits said like the following, and I'm quoting, okay, but they said, "This looks incredible, right? And we're very interested in the project and feel as though, we'll be, competitive with our bid structure and yada, yada, yada." And he told me that, he felt his company had both the bandwidth and the experience to execute to completion. And then he asked this: "Who do we need to talk to in order to continue these conversations so that we can pursue this further?" And I'm sure I looked confused by the question, right? So the other suit then chimed in with, like, "Who's your boss? We would like to reach out to him." Right? Luckily, I do this work. Or I'm not sure how the conversation would have gone. Knowing what I know about human behavior and how we react to situations that we perceive to be offensive, I might have either shut down or got defensive, neither of them honoring of me. Both of them, right, could have proved them right. Think about it. If I would have shut down or got super defensive, I might have proved them right that maybe I wasn't qualified to make these big decisions, and I wasn't emotionally mature enough to handle other human beings. And I wasn't professional enough to have difficult conversations. So you want to know what happened? I kindly told them, right, that the person they needed to pursue these conversations with further was not a him, rather a me. And I spared them the suspense. I told them that they need not waste their time bidding this one out, as they were not likely to get it, not in the realm of possibility. But I did say that they could pick up my lunch. And I wished them luck. And I left. Was I offended? Of course. I'm a human. But I did not take on the offense. I did not wear it outside the restaurant. I gave it back to the rightful owners, the 3 suits that sat right across the table from me. That was not mine to take, right? I'm not a thief. I rarely take offense. I let myself think and feel offended. I take the lesson, not the offense. I use it as an opportunity to explore with curiosity where they're coming from. And then, as quickly as I can, return the merchandise, return the perspective, return the thought, return whatever that was given to me that I had a thought about that created offense to me, and I give it right back. Right? I like to give people permission to be wrong about me. I like to let other people think about me however they want. How nice of me. So in preparation for this podcast, like I mentioned, I looked up offense and how it was defined. And it was interesting because I came across some research that was done on the different forms of offense, right? And as you know, I like to categorize concepts. Usually for me, it helps my brain process and grasp material better so that I can present it and teach it and live into it, right? Because everything that I like to think that I learn and I teach, I try to integrate into my own experience. But how they categorized offense differences had me curious. Okay. They offered up the following forms. Okay. It was, let's see here. It was unintentional, intentional, and perceived. Those were the 3. And as I was thinking through what these were, they all have one thing in common. Regardless of whether or not, think about this, regardless of whether or not the offense is intentional, unintentional, or perceived, all offenses are thoughts. And whether or not an offense is intentional, unintentional, or perceived is based on our bias of the offense. You can't actually factually categorize any of these offenses. And so they all go in the thought line, which means you can make the offense mean anything you want. And I'm not suggesting that you're going to want to make it mean awesome, happy things all the time. I am inviting you to think consciously about them. I want you to think about them in a way that will honor the best of who you are and not confirm the offense. Remember my story. Had I got all uptight and defensive about what they offered up to me and tried to defend my position as a female real estate agent, I probably would have been confirming something that they didn't even perceive, because my offense is my responsibility. Do you see what I'm saying? So if insecurity is the culprit of the offense we take, what can we do to minimize the role that we play in the taking? This is truly what I want to spend the rest of our time discussing. But before we do that, I want to offer up a few reasons as to why we might want to stop taking on people's offense as our own, why we may want to stop stealing other people's projections, why we might want to let other people manage their own thoughts, right, without our incessant butting in, why we might want to just stay in our lane and manage consciously who we are and how we want to show up. So per usual, I just want to break it down by all aspects of our life. Because when we decide to rob other people of their agency and give ourselves the credit for every offense, we create all sorts of complications for ourselves. First, mentally, it looks like unnecessary stress. Right? It looks like anxiety and bitterness and overwhelm and brain fog. It looks like us spinning out and ruminating and sharing all of these stories about how we're so justified in the offense. We're not justified in the offense, right? The offense makes us suffer. There's no justification in that. It also physically challenges us. It looks like hypertension. It looks like high blood pressure, compromised immunity, joint problems, inflammatory issues, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It looks like heart disease and sleep issues and cancer. You guys, the research on this is so extensive. It's not worth it. If I thought being mad at the offender for whatever was said or done, I would join in and be mad at you. But it doesn't hurt them. It just steals your peace, and it compromises your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Okay? In relationships, not only does it affect our relationships with others, but our relationships with ourselves. Taking offense builds walls. It builds misunderstandings. It builds distrust. It allows us to have complete breakdowns in conversations and in our communications with others. I have never once heard of someone taking the offense, okay, in the way that we do, and subsequently communicating effectively. It's impossible. You can't have a rational conversation when your rational brain is offline. And when we're not operating from our rational brain, we are in judgment. Okay? And taking offense stifles our productivity and our creativity by way of distraction, by way of lack of focus, by energy depletion. Because when we are too busy being upset about what someone else did or didn't do, or what someone else said or didn't say, as I mentioned, we spin our wheels, we ruminate on how awful they are. And in doing that, we have just wasted time and focus and energy on someone that we have found to be offensive. Why would we mentally, physically, and emotionally delegate our well-being to someone that we are choosing to be offended by? It makes no sense. So now we kind of know why we might want to stop stealing offenses from other people. I hope you're beginning to see how not getting easily offended is your superpower. We have to know that our life is not happening to us. We are not being thrown around emotionally by our life, by other people's opinions of us. We are being thrown around emotionally by our mind, by our thoughts in our brain. And if we can be willing to embrace the truth of that, you will be well on your way. I promise you, to like superhuman status. So now that we understand the importance of that, let's talk about how we do it. How do we just let other people be with their offenses and not take them on? Well, first and foremost, self-reflection, right? Understanding why you're hurt. You are not hurt because of what someone said. You are hurt because you attached meaning to what someone said. Our suffering always comes when we believe our thoughts. What I find to be incredibly useful is to not give too much credit to other people's opinions. Not the good, not the bad. Okay, now don't get me wrong. Do I love it when people say kind things about me and the work? Yes, I do. Do I love it when I hear comments from you? I love it, yes. Do I love it when you guys say things that you have learned and aha moments? Yes. But I don't make it mean a lot more than, wow, they are really nice people to go out of their way and offer and pay me a compliment or write a testimonial or share me with someone they know. When people do nice things, say nice things, it has to do with them, not me. Hear me say that. When other people are super awesome and have super amazing things to say, it says more about their ability to be kind and generous with their compliments than it has to do with me. I don't validate my worth with their praise. Why is this an important idea and philosophy to live by? Well, If my worth is not validated on other people's praise, it also can't be invalidated by their criticism. Both praise and criticism are judgments. Judgments I acknowledge and give the credit where the credit is due. I also know that along with judgment, criticism, praise is likability, like, dislike. Again, not about me. I have just come to realize that some people are going to like me and, well, some people aren't. And I'm not for everyone. And trust me, it wasn't that I didn't try to meet, right? I tried for sure. And what I realized is that when I tried to be everything to everyone, I was nothing to no one. So self-reflection is key, right? Give people's judgment, positive or negative, back to them as the rightful owner. Empathy, it's another tool. It's another skill that we would benefit greatly from practicing and leveling up in. Trying to see the situation from the other person's perspective. I love using the model that I teach to try and think through what it is that they must be thinking or working through, right? Curious looks way better on me than furious, because empathy gets me out of making the situation be about me. It allows me to consider that it might and most likely has nothing to do with me, it has to do with the other person. And empathy allows me to have those honest conversations, okay? Honest communication, okay? When I say honest communication, what I mean by that is communication that is truth-based. This type of communication requires more words. It requires us to understand both sides, okay? Self-reflection is understanding your perspective. Empathy is understanding theirs. And then navigating the issue directly is about honest communication, okay? I really want us to understand how taking offense affects us and why it is that we do it and why it is that we don't. I want to encourage you to let go of past offenses by reflecting. Take the lesson, not the offense. Challenge yourself to find empathy so that you can have honest conversations and allow yourself to forgive. Forgive yourself so that you have the space to grow into your capacity and not live out the criticism. Draw your respect from living consciously and not from others' complaints. This is the work that we do in our coaching programs. We teach the tools to live a conscious life, right? A life that is uncluttered, a life where you really can have access to the peace and the freedom that you deserve. And if you are ready, right, to take what you are learning on this podcast and apply it in your life, the opportunity to change awaits you. I want you to check out the links in the show notes to, one, snag a copy of our book, right? The Shift, okay? You'll learn more about programs and Shift. And if you want to take this and 10x your life. You guys, I've seen it work over and over and over again. But if you want to take this and 10x your life, become a certified Shift instructor. We need more people not only doing this work, living it, but teaching this work. And so if you've ever thought about adding coaching to your resume, either to coach with us in our programs or to better coach yourself or your teams or your families, I would love for you to check it out. Get back to me. It's going to require, right, all of us in this movement. Okay, my beautiful friends, have an awesome, amazing, wonderful day. And I will see you next week. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Rolling, where I share big ideas to inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahrowling.com.